So today's presentation is about mindfulness and gratitude, right? So what is mindfulness? Mindfulness is the practice of being in the present moment on purpose without judgment. We have on average 60,000 thoughts a day, and about 40,000 are the same as yesterday. And that's what our mind is designed to do. It's designed to think, right? But mindfulness allows us to watch the waves of thoughts and to become the witness. It notices when we obsess or think too much about the future, when we obsess or think too much about the past. And mindfulness is really an invitation to the mind to return to the present moment, to right here and right now. So I like to think of mindfulness as an anchor and our breath as an anchor to help us return to the present moment. So the best way to truly understand what mindfulness is to sit and breathe and practice it. So whether you've been doing mindfulness for a long time or you're relatively new to it, or it's your first time, I always say to start with the beginner's mind. So let's find our seats, come to a nice, comfortable seated position, roll the shoulders back and down and lift up through the heart. And then once you're settled, you can go ahead and close your eyes, and I'll join you in that for a moment. And once your eyes are closed, just begin to softly and gently connect with your breath. Good. Begin to notice where you feel the breath in your body. Take a slow, deep, healing breath in, feeling the front of the body expand, and a soft, gentle breath out, feeling the body relax. Inhale, feel the belly and heart rise. And exhale, feel the heart and belly fall. And just begin to notice how your breath moves softly and gently, just like a wave on the ocean, rising with the inhale and softly and gently falling with the exhale. Inhale, the belly, lungs, and chest rise. And exhale, the chest, lungs, and belly fall. Just noticing and witnessing how your breath truly does move like a wave. As you inhale, the front of the body expands. And as you exhale, you feel the back of the body relax. So keeping your eyes closed, now we're going to do a body scan. We're going to scan the body from head to toe, inviting each and every muscle to relax. So this practice will take about 3 or 4 minutes. So I invite you, if you can, to lie down. If not, to just lean all the way back in your chair and let your body rest during this body scan. So again, eyes are closed, face is relaxed, and reconnecting with that beautiful wave of breath, that healing ocean breath. And now just begin to relax the space between your eyes, feeling it soften. Feel the muscles around the jaw relax, relaxing the back of the head and neck. Feel your face relax, the muscles around the back of the ears and the throat. And just closing the eyes and noticing if there's any tension in their head or neck, and just inviting the head and neck to soften and relax. And taking a deep breath in, filling the upper body. On the inhale, feeling the shoulders rise and fill with breath. And as you exhale, feel a cascade of relaxation washing down your arms to your palms and fingertips. And then go ahead and breathing into the front of the body, feeling the front of the body expand. Feel the belly and heart expand. And then as you exhale, feel this cascade of relaxation, softly and gently moving down the spine, inviting the lower back to release. And then breathe back into the front of the body again. And as you exhale, feel relaxation, moving down to your fingertips. And then all the way down your legs to the soles of your feet and the tips of your toes. And breathe in again through the front of the body. And then as you exhale, feel the back of the thighs, the calves, the soles of the feet relax. And again, all the way down to the tips of the toes. So as you inhale, the body fills with breath. And as you exhale, you just continue to feel this wave of relaxation moving out through the extremities. Taking another deep breath in and another deep breath out, we're just going to now scan the body for any last place where there might still be tension or holding, and softly and gently let it go. And then as you re-anchor in your breath, just begin to witness your thoughts, witness the nature of your thoughts, and invite your mind to move into a state of peace. So every time the mind goes into judgment or worry or distraction, you use your breath as an anchor to return to the present moment. So I'm going to time us for 60 seconds in silence starting right now. Just begin to reconnect with your breath. And as you breathe in and out of your heart, just begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. Then deepen the breath all the way into the belly, feeling the chest rise, fill with breath. And then softly and gently, with a soft gaze, begin to open the eyes and come back to the room, refreshed, awake, and relaxed. Great. So I found that starting to teach these breathing practices to parents and students and teachers really allowed us to get out of this stressed or sympathetic state into this peaceful or parasympathetic state. And I'm going to touch upon the neuroscience of the breath in a little bit. I didn't share my mindfulness background, but I want to share a little bit about when I started studying mindfulness. I was 16, so that was about 31 years ago. And my uncle was teaching at the University of Michigan and environmental science and was very involved in holistic work and environmental work and mindfulness work. So I went to live with him for the summer, and he gave me a lot of books. One was by an author named Thich Nhat Hanh, who's a Zen Vietnamese Buddhist monk who taught a lot about compassion, and he was actually in mindfulness, and he was awarded or nominated by Martin Luther King for the Nobel Peace Prize. So I mostly studied his work, but then I studied the work of many other mindfulness teachers and also yoga teachers. And I feel like here in the West, we're kind of missing that level of mindfulness that's infused within the community, even infused into the architecture, right? And so I think that it's been coming to the West probably since the 1960s and 70s. And now mindfulness is really the next public health revolution. So, like Dan Harris says, the newscaster who wrote the book, 10% Happier, he says that mindfulness is really the next public health revolution. So, like in the 1940s, if you told someone you're going for a jog, they were like, well, who's chasing you? And now, if we don't feel exercise, we feel guilty. And mindfulness is the next public health revolution. At Stanford, they talk about that slope of disenchantment, like, oh, something's going to get trendy and then it's going to go back down. But the prediction with mindfulness is it's going to get trendy and it's going to stay up here and keep slowly climbing up because it's an exercise for the mind. So, if we don't work out now, we feel guilty. And even if we don't like exercise, right? Because we know how good it is for us and there's all this data to support that. And with mindfulness now, there's so much data from top universities, from Harvard, from Stanford, from Yale, from UCLA, that just shows how important mindfulness is to prevent cognitive decline, to help manage stress, to reduce inflammation in the body. And so I really believe in the work that we're doing. And if you go into a Google search and look for it, you'll find there's a lot to learn there too. So most of you might have been sitting all day, or half the day is only 12-ish. So let's do a little bit of movement. Another thing about mindfulness is taking a break. Tim Ferriss and some of the biohackers, Tim Ferriss wrote the 5-Hour Work Week, they talk about the most effective people work for 50 minutes and take a 10-minute break. Now, many of us are like, that's not possible, especially teachers. However, studies do show that if you take a break and you get up and move, it helps reset the mind. It's like shutting down some of the windows when you have too much going on. So let's just engage in a couple of movements to get the blood flowing. So bring your hands to your shoulders and just inhale and exhale. Inhale again. And exhale, breathing in and breathing out. Inhale. You might hear some crunching and crackling. Hopefully our students don't hear all the crackling that we're hearing as adults, right? Good. So just getting the shoulders open, and then place your hands at the back of the neck at the occipital ridge where the head and neck meet, and just squeeze to the right, dropping the head to the right. And then exhale and squeeze to the left. Inhale, look up and back. Bring the elbows together, opening up the back of the neck. And then exhale, interlock the fingers at the back of the head, looking towards the belly button. And then bring the head back to center and just go ahead and make circles clockwise in one direction, moving with your breath. And then go the other way, synchronizing your breath and your movement. Good. And then let's just do one last neck stretch. So raise your left hand, bring it to the right ear, and extend through the right fingertips. Breathing in, breathing out. The eyes can glance up, stretching out the vagus nerve. There's lots of fun new data coming out about the importance of the vagus nerve in reducing stress. So we're actually stretching it nice and deeply here, glancing up. Inhale. Exhale, come back to center and go to the other side. So the right hand comes to the left here. We extend through the fingertips, breathing in and breathing out, and breathing in and breathing out. Inhale, exhale, good. Let's do one last shoulder stretch now that the neck's all ready to go. So like football pose, and bring the right arm underneath the left. Wrap the arms together. If your shoulders are tight, don't worry, just grab hold of the forearms. And then I'm going to disappear if I go all the way down, but you're going to drop all the way down and let the elbows rest in between the knees or calves. Let your head drop, feel the weight of your head drop like a ripe fruit. So if I was standing, I'd be all the way down. Good. And take a couple more deep breaths in and out, letting all the blood flow to the brain. Also, we're sitting up all day, right? So we want to get some blood flow into the brain there. Good. Take another deep breath in, inhale, and exhale, switch sides. Inhale, raise the elbows up, and exhale down. So the difference between yoga and regular stretching is that yoga means to yoke the breath, right? So we're really yoking the breath with the movement. I owned a yoga studio for a little less than a decade, and people would come in and they want to get in good shape, and I just wanted to teach them mindfulness and breathing, because that's where the money's at, as they say. It's really with just connecting with that breath that's always accessible to us. So you can sit all the way up and relax and sit back and enjoy the rest of this presentation now that you've done some breathing and some movement. Hopefully it's a little easier to be present. So what I was saying earlier about mindfulness is that it can really reduce stress and anxiety, but it can also reduce that gene marker for inflammation. And with COVID around, who doesn't want to decrease that gene marker for inflammation, right? Especially as we get a little older. So here is the neuroscience slide. Whoopsie daisy. I'm going to just make myself a little smaller here if I can. There you go. So you can see the brain. So in the brain, we have what's called the amygdala. You actually have one here and one here. It's named after the Latin word almond. And the amygdala is the alarm center of the brain. So if you see a mountain lion up in the hills, right? If you're hiking in Menlo Atherton like I was the other day, I did not see a mountain lion, by the way. But if you do see a mountain lion, the amygdala is going to go off, right? And you're going to do your techniques to scare this mountain lion away. But there are typically no mountain lions walking through the campus of the high school, I hope. And so we have what's called the fear of the paper tiger. And the majority of the time that the amygdala is going off, it's because we have a fearful thought or a worry or a deadline, or I know tax season just passed, or we have too much on our to-do list, right? So this amygdala is going off, and it's going off way too often for most of us and way too frequently for most of us. And when that happens, it wears and tears on the brain. And so in an acute situation, the prefrontal cortex which is responsible for higher order cognitive functioning, information processing, is inhibited. And the hippocampus, which is responsible for memory, it remembers the smell of your grandmother's perfume and how it made you feel, right? So memories and associations, that's also inhibited. So if you look at the brain on a brain scan of someone who's been under and through a lot of stress, right, the amygdala might have more neural connectivity or gray matter on the brain scan. And the prefrontal cortex or hippocampus might decrease in neural connectivity, which is not good. So what happens to the adolescent brain, what happens to our brain is that when we're dealing with chronic and persistent stress, it not only wears and tears on the brain, but there's a cascade of negative things that happen physiologically in the body. It affects the HPA axis, right, which is the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, and impacts our nervous system. And so what we can do is we can practice mindfulness, a few minutes in the morning, a few minutes at night. But one thing I'd like to talk about is integrating mindfulness when we notice we're being triggered, right? So we notice we have a deadline. We notice we have our inboxes piled up. We have a few children that we're carting around. We feel like chauffeurs, right? And so we keep switching into this S stressful or S sympathetic nervous state. And sometimes we get locked into the sympathetic nervous state. And so neurons that fire together wire together, right? And so what happens is we get in these loops, in these persistent loops of negative thinking and these cycles of stress that actually can be habit forming and quite frankly addicting. So when we get locked in these sympathetic states, our heart's racing faster, our digestion slows down, we store fat. Because if we're running from a tiger, we don't know, when we're going to eat again, right? But there's no tiger, it's just a paper tiger. And we start to secrete glucose and secrete epinephrine and norepinephrine. So if we can train the brain to recognize when we're going into sympathetic, and to consciously, with effort, move into peaceful or parasympathetic. I have to draw that P backwards, right? I'm on Zoom. So when we go into parasympathetic, we slow down, right? The neural connectivity in the prefrontal cortex and the hippocampus becomes alive, and those positive neurons are now wiring and firing together, right? And we're more apt to secrete hormones like serotonin and dopamine. And these days, everyone knows what those are, right? The feel-good chemicals. And we're less likely to secrete those toxic chemicals like epinephrine and norepinephrine, which continuously create those stress cycles. So mindfulness can help us break out of these stress cycles, and it drives everything we do. So it's really about being present on purpose, but also recognizing our triggers and then responding and breathing and slowing down the nervous system. So how can gratitude, what's the interplay, right, between gratitude and mindfulness? So gratitude is a beautiful, incredible practice. And I do say it's a practice. So I like to talk about how we can practice gratitude because a lot of us get caught, I myself especially, in cycles of negativity. We wake up in the morning, we think about all of the things we have to do, we go to bed at night, we think about the things that went wrong or the things that went right. But we can learn to practice gratitude by conditioning ourselves to be grateful. I actually, come to think of it, did a gratitude practice this morning. I was getting ready, I was washing my hair, and I was really appreciating the tiles in my bathroom. It was these beautiful white tiles. And then I was looking out the window and I was appreciating all these wonderful trees in my backyard. And I really started to think about some more things that I'm grateful for. Now that didn't happen naturally. That's a conditioning that I've implemented in my life. I've conditioned myself every time I take a shower to think about being grateful for hot water, because there's been times in my life where I lived in parts of the world, like in Tibet, when I was in Tibet once for a summer, where I didn't have hot water for a couple months. So I practice gratitude for warm water, and I do that almost every day. So it is really a practice. But when we do these practices, when we practice gratitude, it actually helps our immune system. It lowers our blood pressure. It creates more positive emotions because of positive endorphins. And then when we feel these positive endorphins and emotions, we're more apt to feel optimistic, happy, connected with others. We feel less isolated and less lonely. I think that, you know, my father, when I was a kid, I was the oldest of 7 children, which is probably why I'm a helper. And my dad made a sign that he posted at the top of the stairwell, and it said, "Gratitude is the attitude." And he had seen it on a sign somewhere. And I thought he made that quote up. But gratitude really is an attitude, but it's an attitude that we have to work towards. Unless you're born hyper positive, it's not something that you might do naturally. So a little bit more data on gratitude. So when we act with gratitude, we're actually more likely to be generous. So the more grateful we are for what we have, the more likely we are to give things away. They say that percentage wise, the people with the least amount of wealth in the world are actually the most generous, right? And that might be, and this is my hypothesis here, that maybe because they're cultivating gratitude for a simple piece of bread or some clean water, that they're more apt to want to give things away. So gratitude actually increases our sense of generosity, which I find super fascinating. And people who actually express their gratitude more and say thank you, thank you, thank you, are more likely to feel positive and also have stronger personal relationships. Probably because everyone loves when you say thank you. And if you don't say thank you, it might be tough to keep those personal relationships, right? So I know as parents, everyone is likely teaching their children gratitude, teaching them to say thank you, teaching them to make eye contact with someone when they check out at the grocery store and such. But I think gratitude is, it's an internal practice. First and foremost, it's an internal practice. But secondly, it's an outward expression. And so I wrote some breaths so we can start to learn how to practice gratitude in a mindful way with an integrated mindful practice. So I believe Bev has shared this short handout a few minutes ago. I'm just going to dump it right back here in the chat, just because I think it might be helpful for those of you that are went to host and panelist. Okay, so Bev's going to reshare that, and I'm going to share my screen. So here we are. So I'm going to go through these 4 breaths. And these are 4 breaths that I often teach, but I've integrated a bit of a gratitude practice. And this is to kind of get our hearts open to learning how to practice gratitude. And one of the best ways to do that is to just simply slow down the nervous system. If we are in fight or flight, we're less likely to be generous, we're less likely to help other people because the fear part of the brain is more active. So the more we can slow down the body and the mind, the more likely we are to be generous and grateful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you a little bit about these 4 breaths first. So I also trained the Mountain View Police Department in these breaths, which was really fun. And they did a great job. And I've also trained a lot of the students at Menlo Atherton, Sequoia, and Woodside at these 5 breaths, and their teachers too. So let's sit back, and 5 and 5 is to normalize us. So you can do the 5 and 5 breathing when you're driving. Students can do it when they're about to take a test. It creates a sense of relaxed alertness. So you're awake and alert, but you're relaxed. The 7, 2, and 8 breath, I like to utilize before bed. The longer the inhale and the exhale, the more relaxed we get. The ocean breath is also a normalizing breath. And it's many people's favorite breath. It's how we started our day today. And then body awareness is to help lower anxiety. So when you bring your hand, you're going to know someone gives you terrible news, which we don't want to think about right now. But if someone gave us terrible news, we might gasp and bring our hand to our chest. It's an instantaneous response. So there was one study that showed that when you touch your hand or your belly, it actually helps calm alongside the breath and move you into this peaceful parasympathetic state. So let's close our eyes and get started on these 4 beautiful breaths back to back. It's probably going to take me about 4 minutes to do this, maybe 5, we'll see. So close your eyes, lean back, and relax. And just begin to notice where you feel the breath in your body. Again, find your mindful seat, which really means roll the shoulders back and down. Feel the top of the head lifting, or the crown of the head lifting towards the ceiling. If you can, place your feet on the floor, or the balls of your feet on the floor. And then softly and gently connect with your breath, feeling a soft, gentle inhale and a slow, deep exhale. Inhale, feel the belly and heart rise. And exhale, feel the heart and belly fall. Inhale, belly and heart rising. And exhale, heart and belly falling. Let's breathe together. We're going to inhale for a count of 5. And exhale. Inhale for 5. And exhale for 5. And as you inhale and exhale, feel the lungs, belly, and chest rise on the inhale and fall on the exhale. Inhale, belly, lungs, and chest rise. And exhale, heart, lungs, and belly fall. And now simply begin to think about someone that you're grateful for. It can be a friend, a family member, a child, and just breathe gratitude into your heart and mind for this person. Think of the gifts they bring to your life, the needs that they meet for joy, companionship, whatever it is that they bring to you. Cultivating a sense of gratitude for their presence in your life. And as you inhale and exhale, feel the belly and heart rise and fall. And just letting that person go. With a grateful heart, I now would like you to take another deep breath in and a deep breath out. And think of a place that you're grateful for. It could be your bed, it could be Big Sur, it could be a place that you consider home or a vacation you went on. Just think of one place in this world that you're grateful for. And closing your eyes, softly and gently breathing in. And breathing out, cultivating a sense of gratitude for this place. And as you breathe in and breathe out, just imagine this place and how it makes you feel. And just cultivating a sense of gratitude for it and for the joy or the peace that it's brought you. And then take another deep breath in and a deep breath out, just letting that place go. And then just think about one thing that you're grateful. It can be your car, your home, your sneakers. It could be as simple as being grateful for clean water. It doesn't have to be anything fancy or big. It can be something really small. Grateful for the chair that you're sitting in. So think of one thing that you're grateful for. And take another deep breath in and a deep breath out. And just letting that one thing go. And now we're going to allow the breath to deepen, breathing in for a count of 7, holding for 2, and breathing out softly and gently and slowly for a count of 8. Let's do that 2 more times on our own, breathing in for 7, holding for 2, and breathing out for 8. I'm going to close my eyes and do it with you. Breathing in for 7. And breathing out for 8. Great. Keeping your eyes closed. And now I invite you to think about a few good things that happened today that you're grateful for. It could be as simple as your chair is comfortable, or you had a nice cup of tea or coffee, or you saw a beautiful tree, or someone smiled at you or made you laugh. So 3 simple good things that happened today. Go ahead and find those 3 things, and I'll see you back here in a few breaths. Okay, so since we're a little new to meditation, or mindfulness, let's open our eyes for a moment and we'll do the next 2 breaths in a moment. So just stretch your arms all the way up. Take a deep breath in, inhale, go over to one side. Exhale, go a little deeper. Inhale, come back up, look up. And exhale, go to the other side. Inhale. And exhale, come back to center. Release the breath out, look down at the belly. Inhale, back up. And then exhale out. So some people love counting breaths and some people don't like them. So there's an organization called the Finders Course that got started at Sophia University, which is a transpersonal psychology school in Palo Alto. Actually, you should check it out. It's very cool. But they actually discovered that certain people resonate with certain types of mindfulness more than others. So some people like counting, some people like silence, some people like guided, some people like their eyes open, staring at nothing or a candle. Some people like their eyes closed. Some folks like to wear a mask over their eyes and plugs in their ears and have no stimulation. So everyone is different. So for those of you that don't enjoy counting, now we're going to do the ocean breath, as well as the body awareness breath. And we're also going to infuse these 2 breaths with gratitude practices. So you get to lie back or lean back, close your eyes, and start again. So let's start that now. Find your seat. You might want to shake the arms out, relax the body. Let's take a deep breath in together and release the breath out with a gentle sigh. Great. So now connecting with your ocean breath, just like we did in the beginning. But how well do we learn from repetition? Very well when it comes to mindfulness. So let's repeat that again. Inhale, imagine the waves of breath moving into your body, filling your belly, lungs, and chest. And releasing chest, lungs, and belly. And as you inhale and notice how your breath moves like a wave, just begin to imagine that you're at a beautiful beach, feeling the waves rising and falling. Noticing how the waves rise and fall just like your breath. And as you sit and stare at this beautiful ocean, this beautiful sky, begin to imagine, just as a child would, harnessing the power of that childhood imagination. Feeling the sun warming your face and skin. And just cultivating in your heart a sense of gratitude for all of nature. Gratitude for our most precious resource, water, sun, precious resources, I should say, water, sun, clean air. Cultivating a sense of gratitude for the sand and the earth, and all the beautiful creatures of the sea and the sky. And just breathing gratitude in and out of your belly and your heart. Thinking about how and reflecting about how beautiful nature is and what a gift it is. Taking another deep breath in and a deep breath out. And just letting that imaginary vision of nature slip away. Feel yourself grounded in your chair. Feel your breath rising and falling for the body awareness breath, our fourth breath. And as you feel yourself grounding and breathing, you can place your right hand on your solar plexus, the space between your heart and belly, and your left hand just below your collarbone, above your heart. And just feel those waves of breath rising on the inhale and falling on the exhale. And now our last practice in this session is to cultivate gratitude for our health and well-being, even if we're facing a health issue. Just cultivating gratitude for our ability to breathe, or any one of the five senses, whichever one you feel connected today. Not everybody has the ability to see or hear. There might, in fact, be people on the line tonight that don't have the ability to do that. So just cultivating gratitude for any ability that you have, whether it's sight or sound or touch or taste. So cultivating gratitude for the senses. And for your heart that beats seemingly all on its own without effort. And gratitude for your healthy body that's doing the best it can to keep you alive and well. Take another deep breath in and another deep breath out, feeling the belly, lungs, and chest rise as you inhale and fall as you exhale. And then when you're ready, you can go ahead and softly and gently open your eyes, coming back to the space, reflecting on all the things that you're grateful for with both your hands on your heart. Take a deep breath in. And just like a script falling down, just begin to think of all of the things, or some of the things that you're grateful for. Maybe it's your family or your friends, the place you have the opportunity to live in. Maybe it's just the simple things. So just let this list run through your mind. And then when you're ready, you can go ahead and open your eyes. All right. Good job, everyone. That was a pretty long practice. So I'm impressed that you stuck with it. And I want to thank you for sticking with it. And I want to speak a little bit now about remembering when to practice gratitude. So one of the best times to practice gratitude is when we feel sad or alone, When we're feeling sad, alone, maybe a little depressed, it might be good to then think about, well, there are some things that aren't going the way we want to, or some things that we're grieving or lost, but there's always something to be grateful for. Friedrich Nietzsche said that one of the last of the human freedoms is to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstance. And you probably all know Friedrich Nietzsche from the Holocaust. And so it's really important that no matter what's happening in our life, no matter what seems to be missing, that we have the capacity and the capability to cultivate a sense of the things that are going well, even if it's as simple as just being grateful for clean water and a place to lay our head at night. Another great time to practice gratitude is when you feel envy or jealousy, when you look at someone else and say, oh, that person is healthier than me, or smarter than me, or wealthier than me, or whatever your mind is doing, to just pause and breathe and say, well, they might have that, but I have this. And to just cultivate gratitude for what you do have. Another time to practice gratitude is when you lose something. So you might have lost, a bet. Hopefully you're not betting. You might have lost some money or something that you really liked. And so when you lose that, just cultivate gratitude in your heart for what you do have. And other times when we're being hard on ourselves, we feel like we failed or we didn't succeed in some way. Cultivating gratitude for all the ways that we have succeeded in our life. Or just when you're having a bad day. But, so many of our students, especially Silicon Valley students, can be really hard on themselves, and I like to say, put down the bat of beating ourselves up, like, oh, I got an A- instead of an A+, and just say, it's okay, and pick up the feather. So put down the bat and pick up the feather and say, you know what, that A- is going to be all right. We always think about, I hope I get into the best school as students I'm talking about now. Like, I hope I get in the best college. I hope I get the best job, with this kind of illusion that once we get everything we want, we'll be happy, right? Once we buy our big home and marry our ideal partner and get our ideal job and makes tons of money, then we'll be happy. And the fact is that that's not what the research shows. The research shows that the most happy people are the most grateful people. So no matter what we have or where we are in life or what we've accomplished or what we have yet to accomplish, gratitude is a really, really wonderful practice that we can integrate here and now, so that today is a good day. And so remember that when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. And my husband always says, oh, I'm missing one thing there, but I can't wait to see all the good things that happen out of this seemingly bad thing. So it's like good luck, bad luck. We had a young boy once speak at our gala. He was 6 years old, and I said, I wanted him to write a story on mindfulness. And he wrote this incredible story. And then he referenced the ancient story about good luck, bad luck. And so we don't know. Something seems to be happening that's bad, but maybe it's removing something toxic from your life that you no longer need, right? And bringing in something new. So somebody might lose their job, but then maybe 2 weeks later they get offered an awesome job, right? So we can sometimes just say thank you, even if something bad happens, because we don't know all the good that's going to come out of it, right? Good luck, bad luck. So when do we practice gratitude? So a great time, and I'm going to wrap it up in about just 1 minute, but in the morning, before our feet hit the floor, laying in bed and thinking about what we're grateful for rather than picking up our phone. Last night I got back from Palo Alto and I'm back in New York, and I put my phone, I plugged it in, I put it all the way on the other side of the bedroom. So I couldn't pick it up and check my email in the middle of the night or first thing in the morning. I could wake up, think about what I'm grateful for, think about what I'm going to do today. And that's a much better way to start the day than Gmail. So first thing in the morning, and then before going to sleep at night, me and my husband share before we go to bed at night everything that we're grateful for, or we do the 3 good things that happened today. I love the 3 good things that happened today, because oftentimes it's about 10 good things that happened today and we don't realize those 10 good things. And so sharing it verbally with a partner, a friend, or with your child is actually even more powerful, because we're sharing it with someone and we get to hear it back to ourselves as we say it and share it out loud. If you're alone and you don't have a partner or a friend to share it with, you can always journal a gratitude list and make that nice list of things that you're grateful for. Other times to be grateful as a family is before a family meal, have everyone sit in a circle and share what they're grateful for today. After things have cooled down after an argument, saying like, this was my part in this. But I'm really grateful that we worked through this. And even though we might not see eye to eye on this, I think that you're really awesome. And this is other ways that reasons that I'm grateful for you. And I covered the sadness. So when things do not go the way you want them to, yeah, I kind of covered that too. So how do we show gratitude to others? Now, this is really for kind of how do we teach our children to show gratitude for others? Because we know how to show gratitude. But, sometimes social media will sync your birthday calendar and it's way too many birthdays, but just trying to save colleagues, friends, birthdays, just that's a great day to say thank you to them. And I really appreciate you. But sometimes writing out a thank you note or giving a hug or donating it to someone that needs it. So let's just close our eyes for a moment and wrap it up so we have time for Q&A. So just come to a comfortable seated position. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel your body in your chair. And then bring your left hand to your heart. And just say to yourself in your mind, I can choose to be grateful for everything in my life. So as I breathe in and breathe out, I can see how fleeting this life is and all of the gifts that I'm surrounded in. So as you inhale and exhale, just arriving right here and right now. Feeling your fingers and toes and opening your eyes. So one thing that gratitude's done for me is it's allowed me to arrive. Like I have enough, I've done enough, I'm good enough, and today's a great day. So I'm not going to be happier when the next great thing happens. Like, I say to the high school students, like, once we graduate high school, then once we graduate college, once we get married, once we get divorced, once we, it's like there's all these milestones in life, hopefully not get divorced, but these things happen. So there's all these milestones in life, right? And so we always think that it's our happiness is ahead of us. It's somewhere in the future. It's unobtainable now. And gratitude is really about bringing it back to right here, right now. Here we are in this moment, and we can celebrate this day. And I'm going to end with these quotes. So grace is a direct response to gratitude, said Oprah. Doris Day said gratitude is riches, complaint is poverty. And Maya Angelou said, it's a wonderful day. I have never seen this one before. And I really love that. So we have a bunch of resources. .org. You can find access to our videos. We have this library of guided visualizations that you can not under the documentary, but on the other ones. And we're going to send a handout with a list of free resources to help you cultivate a mindful practice. These will be listed on the resources handout because you probably don't have enough time to write them down right now. And that's it. We did our closing practice and we are good to go. So again, my name is Carin, Carin. My last name is Winter. And you can email me at carin@missionbe.org. We also, if you're interested in bringing us to your children's school or your teenager's school, just let us know. Or you're interested in supporting us or being part of the work that we're doing in any other way, we're always grateful. So thank you, Charlene, for having me on, and Bev and the Parent Venture. And we are so grateful to be connected and to have this opportunity to speak to all of you parents. So thank you so much. It's been a pure pleasure. And now I'll save the next 5 minutes for Q&A.
Thank you so much, Carin. This was really just a great thing to do on a Friday, especially a busy day in May. And so again, thank you. And thank you to everybody who's been with us through this workshop. It was really a wonderful experience. So many great suggestions for how to integrate mindfulness and gratitude into your daily lives. So Carin, we have some great questions coming in. Let's just get started, okay?
Yes, sure.
Parent asks, do you recommend inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth or nose?
So typically they say that the nose is for breathing and the mouth is for eating. So I would say 90% of our breath is in and out of the nose. We do have one breath that reduces anger where we inhale through the nose and we exhale out the mouth. So all of our breaths are based on a lot of the science behind breathing. So most of the times it's in and out of the nose, but in a lot of yoga classes, I notice they teach in through the nose, out through the mouth. As long as you're breathing deeply, it's not going to harm you. You want to try just not to breathe in through the mouth because you'll get dehydrated. Or you'll feel dehydrated. Yeah.
Okay.
If you're right. Yeah.
Okay. Good advice. Thank you. All right. Here's a great question. We have tried practicing mindfulness at a family, but it's hard to make my teenagers do it. Any ideas?
Yeah. Well, first, modeling is the best way to do it. I had a friend that was a yoga teacher, and her teenage boys hated yoga. And then when they turned 23, one became a meditation teacher, and at 26, the other one became a yoga teacher. So I say you're planting the seeds, and don't push it on them. Don't ever, for parents, of course, we wouldn't want to make it like a disciplinary thing, like go in your room and breathe, right? But I think that just showing them how it's done and waiting till the time when maybe they're vulnerable and they need mindfulness, maybe the night before a big test, or when they're coping with a difficult social situation, just say, I've tried this, it's really worked for me. Another thing is having them lie down and do it like before bed when they're really sleepy, or if they can't sleep one night, just say, how about I guide you through this? And you can take the breaths that we have, like the rest of the handout has breaths, visualizations, movements, and all sorts of things that we could never cover in a 45-minute workshop. But there are some breaths. And if you're interested, you can email me and I can give you these videos of they're really designed for classrooms. They're training videos for students, but you can watch the videos and learn how to teach your children some of these breaths.
Okay, that is really great advice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
This parent asks, I would like to make mindfulness a regular part of my routine, but with 3 kids, it seems impossible. Do you have any suggestions for this beginner?
Yes, absolutely. I relate. I mean, there's always nothing is more important than, well, everything is more important than doing nothing. Okay. So everything in the world will take priority over sitting and breathing and doing nothing. It's like that for all of us. So it's very, very hard to make it a priority because, when we sit down to do mindfulness, we think, well, I have to do the laundry and I have to call this person back. And so has soccer. So you are probably, if you're a parent of 3, you're probably very time deprived. And so it's more about making a commitment to a time that's really realistic for us. And that might mean after our children go to bed. I was going to say after our students sleep for the day, but after our children go to sleep, we might have, like only 20 minutes before bed to clean up and straighten up, but just committing to those 5 or 10 minutes and setting a timer and sitting up in our chair and just simply connecting with our breath. It might mean, if we're a working parent, getting to the office and to the parking lot of the office 5 minutes early, especially if you have a lot of people that you're supervising, right? Like the moment you walk in, that's it, but if you sit in the car and just sit and breathe in the car, you might find that that's like a nice time where no one can bother you or interrupt you. You could even pull over in your neighborhood, like a few houses down the road before you pull out to your house, and sit on the side of the road and breathe. I mean, I know that sometimes parents, that's the only time they have is when they're in the bathroom or when they're in the car by themselves. And that might be where your meditation mat is in the car.
That's right. It can be at a red light, really. You can take a couple of deep breaths, right?
Yeah. I mean, it is ideally, a lot of research that shows 17 minutes, but there's been data that says like 3 deep breaths makes a difference. But I ideally shoot for 22 minutes in the morning and then at least 10 minutes at night. But I that's my minimum, but I like to do 40 minutes if I can, and 20, but that's, my ideal isn't always realistic. In fact, it's rarely realistic. So yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. Here's a good question, Carin. Parent asks, my son, 8 years old, would really benefit from mindfulness, but because he gets easily overstimulated. Although he's not interested in practicing breathing, how do I get started? Such a good question for a young child who gets overstimulated easily.
Yeah, well, he's not interested in breathing, so you can do some movement with him, like Tai Chi or Qigong. We teach those movements, and when we surveyed the students at Sequoia, they really liked a lot of the movements. So we like inhale like this, and then exhale down. I mean, I can't teach you that in a minute or so, but there are some movement breaths that are included in this handout. But if there is a local place that teaches sort of martial arts with slower movement, that might be appealing. You can get them to do a yoga video with some movement. So integrating breath and movement is also easier for younger students because they have this restlessness about them. Or again, if they're tired and they're lying down, having them do a guided mindfulness practice. And that's a really easy thing to learn because your body is the map. So if he lies down and he's sleepy, just close your eyes, relax your face. You go through the guided practice. I mean, getting an 8-year-old to sit in silence and breathe is very hard, but we also I have another parent handout that includes like the butterfly breath and the dinosaur breath and like all these really cute, fun breaths that younger students also like. So
I love that. Thank you, Corinne. I worked
yeah.
with a therapist once who used to take boys and they would take a basketball and they would bounce the basketball and that would become their mindfulness exercise, listening to the sound, feeling it. It really worked for a lot of, especially adolescents.
Yeah, I mean, my friend Daniel Reinschaff and Chris Willard wrote a book called Alpha Breath. So they have like the Spider-Man breath, and they have these kind of like really fun, playful breaths. So
Wow, that's really great.
there's a lot of
Well,
resources out there.
Corinne, again, thank you so much. We have come to the end of our hour together. We really appreciate you and Mission B and this wonderful workshop. Again, parents, everybody who's with us today, parents and caregivers, we will be sending out a follow-up email when this video is ready with with the handout and some of the resources that Corinne has talked about today. Corinne, do you have any final thoughts you would like to leave us with?
My final thought is that I feel very grateful right now for you, Charlene, and for your whole team, and for all the parents that logged in today. And I'm just grateful for everyone's willingness to take a break in the middle of the day and join us for this workshop. So those are my final thoughts. And just stay mindful, do the best you can, and mindfulness is failing and trying and failing and starting again. So if you feel like you're not good at it, welcome to the club. None of us are great at it. Take your time, put down the bat, pick up the feather, and just be gentle with yourself as you learn these practices. And good luck practicing gratitude. It's been my pleasure.
Thank you so much. Really great advice. Corinne will be thinking about this weekend. To the moms online, happy Mother's Day. Thank you for joining us. And we hope to see you again. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Happy Mother's Day.